we've spoken so much about Ouija boards on the show. This is an actual Ouija board sitting right in front of us.
Yes, it is. You're welcome to take the cover off.
I wouldn't want to.
Oh, don't worry.
Do you want me to do that
safe.
for you, or are you just happy to leave it as is?
Are you comfortable
Yeah,
doing it?
of
course.
Okay, sorry to make you do this, Dean. Oh my God. We're going to deep dive into the equipment at this point. Wow. Okay, you got to explain how this works in the first place.
When we operate with this divination tool, I know it's widely accepted as a way of contacting spirit and so on and so forth. But we take a little bit more of a skeptical view on the Ouija board ourselves. We actually have our own methods to try and eliminate things like the ideomotor effect. Now, what that is when the brain tells the muscles to effectively move the planchette. Do you want to show the planchette, Dean?
I'll show what you have to put on the board.
Yeah. So the planchette itself, which is where the participant would actually place their fingers on the planchette. Normally 4 or 5 of you. I'd say 4 is a good number for the board. Before you start using these things, I would advise, if you have your own spiritual beliefs and so on and so forth, say your prayers, just in case. It makes you feel more comfortable.
The main concept is obviously that the participants would have to put their fingers, one finger on the planchette. Where H talks about the ideomotor effect is that you have to physically be touching the planchette. So you could physically, because you have to physically touch it, people could influence the board. This is why skeptics like myself on the skeptical side think, because they're touching it, they could be moving it. But there is also the side of it where if it is a spirit coming through, you just have to listen to what's coming through. And as long as it makes sense, you're looking for tangible responses to the questions you're asking, not just random talk.
But we do use the word alleged spirit.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Have you guys been in a situation where you've been using the Ouija board and something has actually taken over, which you guys believe to be an actual entity?
There's been multiple times, yeah.
Yeah, we've had phone numbers come through that have checked out. We've rang them up, and the people that have come through on the board, there was one girl from 1976, I believe. She passed away, and we got the phone number, and she said, "Tell my mum I'm okay." And did you rang, didn't you?
Yeah,
Dean rang, and
that was quite an interesting phone call.
So the ghost of that little girl gave you the mum's number
mobile number
from now.
Yes.
Wow.
And we're thinking to ourselves, it just started, rather than going to letters, it started going to numbers. And it wasn't making too much sense until it started with the UK digits 079 something.
Yeah.
And we're like, this is actually spelling a number, not an age, it's specific, it's actually spelling a mobile number.
After giving you guys the number, how did it say that tell my mother?
It said, call mum.
Call mum.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
And then I had to basically...
You did that?
Yeah.
How did the mother react?
Well, first of all, I had to ask if,
Did she have
a daughter that passed over? And this is the message we've been told to give you. Sorry to bring this to you, but also I think it might be something you might want to hear is that we were doing a seance last night in a particular location, a Ouija board, and this is what's come through, and we're only following up with what we were told to do. We didn't know where the number
Twice that happened, didn't it?
Yeah, we didn't know where the number was going to go.
Twice.
But on 2 occasions, mobile numbers have come through on the board, and we rung the mobile number. They've led directly to someone.
Yeah.
But with this particular case where that little girl's spirit came and said that call mum.
Yeah.
What was the location that you guys were doing it in?
So it was in a house. It was a home investigation.
But was it her house? Was it the house that she had
It was the
passed in?
house of...
No.
It wasn't. But it was the house of a relative.
Okay.
Yeah, the relative lived there beforehand, but we had no knowledge of this when we went in. So
Why do you think the girl's spirit chose that house?
Because it must have been the person who we were dealing with. She was quite a nice, welcoming, kindred spirit. So I think that they may have just chosen that opportunity to come through because of the good nature of the people that were in the room.
The relative was a good human being.
Yes, good human being.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think as well for us, it's also important to say that we don't allow people on the board. If we go to a location, such as historians, people have got public knowledge of the location we're going into, we don't allow them to go onto the board because they could taint the board.
Or anyone under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, no. sorry, we won't allow that because
So you had to be sound of mind and sober.
Yeah, and they say you need to be sort of very well within yourself, because if anything does come through, you could potentially attach that to yourself and start thinking, spirit's after me. I was on the board last night. It's known as the world's most dangerous game. That's what they call it.
We've had some very astounding results.
Yeah, we have.
Can we speak about this dangerous game situation? Because this is what we hear back in India. And I've spoken to some people who are into Western occult or, English magic, as they call it.
Yeah.
They consider a Ouija board a bit of a portal.
Yeah.
Okay, so a number of people have actually, ended their lives because of what the board's told them, or people have used the board for, various means, to try and, I suppose, for dark reasons,
Try and contact the devil.
Well, yeah,
Stuff like this.
And they've put things that they've done to other people down to the board,
And they're also
believing
asking personal questions as well, aren't they, about certain things that's happened in their life. They're sort of willing the board to tell them the answers.
give them the answers.
So the board's got the control rather than the person.
Why do you think this device has this kind of ability in the first place?
Well, I mean, it's a divination tool, and like all divination tools, in fact, going back to ancient Greece, when someone would get some bones and blood and throw them in a bowl and rely on the results of the way that the bones landed, that they would use that as a way of a sign from the gods or whatever, telling them that this is what they must do. They must go into battle. They have to don't go into battle, and so on and so forth. It's the same thing with that. We're like, I think humans need answers to many things, and
I think because it's a very visual thing, it's very tangible. So if you've got an A to Z, something you recognise, it's very easy to read, rather than just answering out in the atmosphere and not getting any responses. If you've got a board with numbers on it and things you recognise, it's very easy to then make that more real.
Yeah.
And I think where the horror side comes to it is where people have used the board, then subsequently after that, things have happened, like people have passed away or people have been in car crashes and stuff like this. And this is where I think a lot of it built up, a lot of its tension, but also what Hollywood did to it during the 70s with all the horror films that were around that period also gave it a stigmatism for more Western culture.
Yeah, and also, I mean, when you go back to like World War One, when the spiritualistic movement really sort of took off because of people wanting to contact their loved ones, so this obviously skyrocketed in terms of its popularity in Western culture.
After the First World War.
After the First World War and through that time. So, like you, when you see the Ouija board, you were like, oh, the Ouija board. It's how you take it, if you take a light-hearted approach to it, use it as sensibly. Don't ever go on this under the influence because you're not in your right mind. So if anyone invites you into a party and there's drink and drugs and stuff and they're saying, let's go on the boards, stay away, don't get involved in it, and make sure that the people on the board are very trustworthy, and they can always use my technique of powder in between, because apparently we never actually physically touch anything. Because between us and atoms, there's always atoms between something.
Right.
So you never actually physically touch anything, I believe.
Understood. Okay. But why are you guys summoned in the first place? Is it to prove that an entity is there with the evidence? Or do you all also cleanse places?
No, we're not cleaners.
We're not. We don't profess to be able to. Not exorcists. We can't clear environments.
But I would add just one thing to that, because that is an interesting thing. We don't cleanse the spirit. What we do is we try to help the person who's experiencing this, and we sort of say to them, it's more about them, more about their state of mind, more about
surroundings
like
setting up a structure
for their life to sort of battle it themselves and get through the emotional trauma that they're experiencing as well. So we cleanse, I'd say, more the person's soul than the actual soul that's haunting the person, if that makes sense. I would spend hours talking to them to try and get through to them and sort of, understand them as a person and see what's troubling them, because that to me is more rewarding than, there is no device or no sort of, I know people can profess to clear buildings and walk around and, obviously they have that ability. I don't have that ability, so I'm not going to actually, fool anyone with mumbo jumbo that I don't know nothing about. So, and
if they think they've got a ghost, they would be looking for a ghost hunter or paranormal investigator. But I guess we go there not trying to ramp it up. We try to get an understanding of the environment we're working with the person to try to establish what exactly is going on. Is it environmental? Is it psychological? Or is it essentially paranormal?
Before we move on with more stories, do you want to give a step-by-step procedure on the right way to use a Ouija board?
Yeah, I mean, basically, the right way to use a Ouija board is, okay, first of all, you have to be sound of mind. There's no other way about it. That means, obviously under no influence whatsoever. Choose, if you do go on a board, choose your participants carefully. Make sure that they are sound of mind as well, and people you can trust who are not going to interact with the board and sort of start pushing it around, because otherwise it's a waste of time from the beginning. You need to...
everyone has to have the same agenda.
Yeah.
So if you've got 3 positive people on the board who want to make just contact, then you've got one person who wants to maybe contact more darker spirits. Don't do it with them.
Yeah, avoid people that have dark
thoughts.
agenda,
So maybe they won't voice it out, but if they're internally wishing for that, it'll happen.
Yes, there's nothing you can do to prevent that, but you always ask the question, are we all here for the same reason?
Okay.
Also, it's not a way of contacting spirit. It is a divination tool, and it's used as a divination tool, but it's also a parlor game. Okay, so they have to be very mindful that it's a parlor game. So if something does come onto the board, they're going to need to have someone who can obviously document all the letters and so on. So, and be very mindful as well that, like we talked today in text messages, like lol and things like that. Sometimes some of the messages that come through in code as well, and it's not until you've actually read what you've called out back to yourself, you realise, then you go, hold on, that's really strange. It spells so on and so forth. And and
then obviously I think is you say a prayer before opening the board.
Prayer.
An opening prayer. Use the board wisely. Have a note taker. It may be gibberish at the time, but it may be using tongue that we don't recognize. If we went to India and we started using the board and it was coming through in Hindi, we wouldn't have a clue what we were talking about until we got home and translated it.
Or you translated it for us.
Yes, but I think obviously, Old English and being able to, if you're speaking to people from 1600s, they would have a completely different dialect to us.
To what we have.
So that's also important. Old tongue may not be what we talk now. And then obviously closing the board properly with a closing prayer. Doesn't matter what it is, just anything that makes you feel comfortable.